Hello everyone, it's Melanie with Vintage Hill Studio. I have another recycle, repurpose, reuse project. We're making a bookmark using sewing pattern tissue paper. First, let me talk to you about these stickers I got from Amazon. They are retro fashion stickers. They're absolutely wonderful. You can see that they're packaged so that they're color coordinated, which I love. That makes my life so much simpler. You can see from the packaging, if it's a green cover, you've got ladies in green dresses, and I'm going to open up this one that has some gentlemen on front, and sure enough, they are wearing some brown suits, and there's all kinds of guy figures in here, which is really cool as well. So I'm loving these stickers. Now, they were actually kind of small. I wasn't sure about that when I ordered them, but when I got them in, they're like 1.25 inches tall, just approximately, an 1.25 inches wide by maybe 3 inches high. Well, not very tall. Very conducive for like journaling or maybe tags or what have you. But I love the detail of these fashion images. Aren't they wonderful? I just love them. So there's 40 in each package. Okay, now we're looking at this tissue. This is just the sewing pattern tissue, that's pre-printed in each pattern, and figuring out what I could do with this. So I've cut out a part that looked interesting to me, and I'm going to use that on a bookmark. So you can see I'm just taking some cardstock here. My bookmarks are generally 2 inches wide by 6 inches long, and I'm using a glue stick because when I'm working with tissue paper, it's so frail, it's easy to get wrinkles. So I'm just going to lay that right over where I use the glue stick. Then I do nothing more than just use my fingers, and that kind of removes most of the wrinkles. Then I'll simply cut around the edges with my scissors, and we'll be ready to move on with decorating this bookmark. Again, I concentrated on keeping a lot of that print on the bookmark area. Then I'll pick out my retro fashion lady and see what looks good for my bookmark. I'm going to go with her, and I wanted to just show you this very quickly. These are called washi stickers, and it is kind of like a washi tape. It's a little bit translucent, which is also very cool. I'll have to use that in another project. But for this week, I'm going to return her to that backing paper because I wanted her to stand out a little more against the tissue paper with the vibrancy of her colors. But I am going to go around the edges with some vintage photo here and just ink her up just a little bit, not a whole lot. There will be a little bit of more of that cream or white space between her dress and where I'm inking, which is just fine. But she's going to actually blend into this tissue paper a little better with the vintage photo. So I'll get ready and see what she looks like. She's going to fit in here perfectly, still allowing me to read the writing that's printed on that tissue paper. I'm just going to use a little bit of my glue and stick her down. And then I've got some ephemera from Holtz sets that I have a lot of that. And I'm going to add a little splash of color and just a little more detail to fill in some of those blank spaces on this tissue paper. This was so much fun as a repurpose project for the sewing tissue. I don't know, it just came to me and I thought this would be fun, and it also allows me to use these little images and they fit perfectly on a bookmark, so win-win for this week. All right, anything you've got in excess here, just clip that off with your scissors. We'll be ready to move right along here. I also wanted to let you know that I did print out a little history about the sewing pattern tissue paper, and I just did that on my home PC, and I will show you what I'm going to do with that in just a second. But first, I'll use a little scrap of this tissue and some of my favorite stamps here from Holtz. They're red rubber stamps. And with these sewing images, I just love using those for my cards or my bookmarks, anything sewing related. So again, I would cut that out. That's going to go on the back side of my bookmark with that history I was telling you about. that explains what the sewing pattern tissue is actually used for. So I love sharing the history on things as well. Okay, and then you can see I've just cut out a black piece of cardstock to kind of outline my bookmark, and that will work on the front as well as on the back. There's the history and my little thread there. That's going to go on the back, and I'm just going to ink up around the edges of this little historical piece of paper here, which will make it blend very well with the front. So everything is very cohesive from front to back. Okay, then I'm just going to punch a hole. I like to do that for whatever ribbon I'm going to be running through. I'll add a little bit of reinforcements from We Are Memory Keepers punch, and I'll be ready to get this bookmark laminated. So if you've followed me for any time, you know I love books. I love to turn the pages of books, so I like making these bookmarks. I have a lot of friends who are readers, and so I keep them in mind when I'm making these bookmarks. Anyway, I have shown many videos using the Scotch Laminator and the thermal pouches, and if you're interested in that, I have a playlist called Bookmarks, so hop on over there and there will be more detailed videos on how to actually use this laminator, but it is fairly simple. It just protects whatever you've decided to use on your bookmark. You trim that out, and you've got a very sturdy bookmark for you to enjoy or to share with friends. Thank you so much for dropping by today. I hope you get inspired to look at some of the old sewing patterns and possibly the sewing pattern tissue paper. And maybe you will find some use for that in your projects as well. If you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. If you're returning, welcome, welcome, welcome. Anybody's welcome to leave comments, give me a thumbs up, and hope to see you again next week. Happy crafting, everyone!